Hello everybody, this is Josh Explain Place, and today we continue expanding and growing our city of New Austin in this episode 7. And I think today we are gonna work on creating a park district. So let's begin. Well, last episode we worked in basically creating a new subdivision and new residential area, which is this really nice square. I think we did a really good job creating it, and I think it's gonna grow really well. Like I mentioned last week, I think we're gonna call this phase 1 of the subdivision of Primrose Park. We also built 2 train stations, this one here by the university and another one by the new residential district. We added some commercial buildings, commercial zones here. So I think that's working really well. The train station is getting a lot of passengers. And this one too, again, for the size of this city, which is only 14,000 people. We also have managed to open all these 4 squares, all these 4 land tiles. And I think it's gonna be really nice once we also start working on creating some subdivisions on this area. But we are going to focus on this site right now, and we are going to focus on growing our city with low residential for a while until we start zoning for high density. I know we added some here, and maybe we'll add some nearby, but for now that should be fine. Another thing that I would like to do in the near future would be to start cleaning this up so that we can have a clean river, because we are gonna add some of the tourist commercial zone in here. So I think that has to be a little better. And unfortunately, I think we might have to move this here. That way we don't have any issues with adding more streets, especially these 2. So I think what I'm gonna do right now is to once again look at our electricity, which we might have to increase the budget. Again, that's what we do every single time we start or we open our city, make sure there's enough electricity. We also look at the water, and I think we're also going to increase the budget, at least for now. In terms of garbage, we should be doing well, again, at least for right now. In healthcare and death care, again, we are fine. We have some traffic, again, in the areas where, of course, there's going to be traffic, so we are fine with that. And finally, with crime, and I think, again, we are doing well, so we don't have to worry about that for now, at least for this moment. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is we need to take a look at our money. We are doing really good money, and I think because of that, I want to build what is going to be our waste disposal area. In this case, I'm going to put it in here, and I think that's something that it's a little bit of a struggle when we are trying to figure out how to deal with the area that has the garbage and the water plants that we should place in just a little bit. Like these ones, especially the eco ones, which we will plop down in a moment more. But first, I do want to widen this road, and I am gonna already put it as an industrial road, and I think that should help traffic a little bit more. Correct. I am gonna zone this already as residential. That way we're not having a big spike and then having issues with the industrial area saying that there's not enough people. So let me add this one here. I'm gonna pause it really quick because I'm also gonna add another road here. because in the near future we will connect these two, so there should be a symmetry there. And at least for now, this is the way that that's gonna stay. And let's really quick adjust this so that there's no lights and there's no traffic. Once we do that, let's create some more squares. And then we can start moving some of our stuff that's on the other side into this side. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna start moving all of these plants to here. Of course, the ones that we can afford to move, because we also don't want to make this an expensive type of thing. But at least for now, the thing that we're gonna do is place 1 or 2 more recycling plants, and we should have enough electricity here. So we're gonna do 1 and we're gonna do 2. And again, the reason in doing this is that there's really nothing around that will be affected by the pollution and the noise, because not only is this gonna be kind of noisy, it's also gonna be very polluting into the ground. So we don't want people to get sick. And the next thing that we are gonna do is to build some of these eco inland water treatment plants. And the issue first is that we don't have these larger ones. Those ones are gonna take a long time to get. And these ones have very diminished capacity as opposed to the regular water drain pipes. And so I think that for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're gonna have to put at least 7. And that's what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna try to do 7 as well as we can. Again, because we don't know how things are gonna be affected. So it's gonna be 3, it's gonna be 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's make sure there's electricity here. Let's also make sure that they're plugged in. So let's run the city for a bit, and as you can see, there's a lot of sewage treatment. So let's little by little, let's delete these ones. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're seeing that we're going to need more. There's not enough capacity, and we need about 70,000, so that's going to be 2 more. And I think by now we should be able, we're going to add 1 more. And that way we are fine for now. Again, I think the capacity of these plants is really small, and there's no way to improve that. There's no way to upgrade, which is something that SimCity 2013 did, and that City Skylines 2 is gonna do. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks we should be able to see that. So we are also gonna start emptying this one, and I think that's gonna affect our capacity for processing the garbage, but I think we should be fine. So again, this is a good place to put, because we're gonna move all these here, to put the garbage and processing plants and whatnot. It has a really quick access to the expressway and to the rest of the city, so it should be fine. And as of right now, we're gonna leave it like that. I think that's gonna be working really well. And whenever we access the larger water treatment plants, we'll place them here, and we'll replace all these smaller ones, because that's going to be better for the size and the way that it looks. And so one of the things that I do want to do is, again, to start a tourist area in here, and that's what we are going to start right now. as we can see, maybe just little by little, all this dirty water is going to start flowing a little bit better, little by little, and that way this can be pushed already. We might be able to help it a little bit if we add this outlet, freshwater outlet. Let's see if that helps, because the water that's not being used, it's gonna be sent back here, and yes, it's gonna, I think it's already starting to help. Yeah, little by little, and so we'll have enough time for it to for the river to look a little bit better. Let's delete these power lines, we don't need them. Everything has enough power, or everything is connected to have enough power, as we can see here. So there's no need for that. Next, I'm going to start drawing or laying down the roads. And one of the things that I'm thinking of is adding some of these seawalls in here. I think that's going to look nice. Now, it's always a matter of trying to figure out which one to put in here, but I think I'm just going to do the very simple ones, the ones with this, or we can put these ones, the keys or the quays, however you want to call them, and maybe we can do that here. And that's going to help us with having our limits into the river. I think it looks actually really, really nice. We could, and I think I'm going to change them to maybe these ones. And again, we can upgrade them later on. So we should be fine for now. So let's add more roads. And since this road is more really like a frontage road, I'm gonna try not to zone anything within the four squares in here. That way there's no issues. Also, it's all a little bit finicky when you start getting into these keys or quays, especially because you're following the grid. So that's when I recommend to go just with angle and road length. And that's gonna be, and I think that's gonna work really, really well. Let's see, I don't know if this little park can be connected. No, so I think we might add something else here, but I do wanna add parking. So this is gonna be the first block, this is gonna be the second block. In here we're just gonna get to this one, and since we erased the other one, we deleted it, I think we can just add this here. And again, it's gonna be for now, because once we start expanding to the other side of the river, we are gonna have to upgrade the expressway, so this is gonna be to be torn down. But in the meantime, let's continue just putting the roads here. And I think I'm gonna do an extra road. And I think that's gonna work really, really nice. And now what we're gonna do is to upgrade them. And I am gonna upgrade them to also have 2 bicycle lanes. And I'm gonna upgrade everything that's gonna be on this side, basically. So we have everything look nice and sharp and organized. I kind of don't like how this looks, but let's see if we can figure out. I don't know why there's no water here. That's interesting, but sometimes that happens too. So let's see if we can fix this. Kinda, not really. I think we're just gonna leave it like that. We'll figure out later, maybe we can make this a little bit deeper, because right now I have no idea why there's no water flowing through. But we'll wait, we'll see. There's still a nice wall here. And the next thing that I'm gonna do is I am gonna create this zone, this district. as better as good as I can, and sometimes, you know, we have it. And maybe I think just because of where this is gonna be at, I think I'm gonna zone this as the nighttime or the leisure specialization, and this one as the tourism. Let's also make sure that there's enough water here, and I'm gonna delete these pipes. We are not gonna need them anymore. They serve their purpose, and now they need to be removed and upgraded. So I'm gonna put this one here. I'm gonna extend this one here, here, and here, and I think we should be fine in terms of water and electricity. Let me put some parking lots here. Oops, I'll change it in a bit. Hoping that it's an even number of squares so we can place them here. And that's a yes. So that is that. Maybe we can find another little plaza to plop in here. That's a little bit small. So is this one a bit too big, too small? And well, we're just gonna leave it like that for right now. Maybe we can do a tower. This one's gonna be too big. Maybe we can find something here that we can add, or maybe we can add the television station. Oh, that fits perfect. I think that's gonna be great for here. And so we have this one as leisure, and we have this one as tourism. And I think it's time to start zoning just a little bit. Again, there's not gonna be that much demand for it. Let's see if we can put the marina or the fishing tours. Unfortunately, this one is not gonna let me. We might have to upgrade this to one that allows us to. I like the fact that there's trees and everything, but maybe we can do. We're gonna have to wait on that. Let me revert it to the one that we had it with. And now we're screwed a little bit. Again, I don't know why this is happening. Let's turn this off just for the sake of it. Maybe that's what's messing it up. I really have no clue. Again, sometimes things just happen out of nowhere. It's deep enough, but maybe let's see if we can try to make everything, and maybe that's gonna help. Let's wait and see. Well, apparently we're doing something that's odd, so let's slow this one down. Let's just delete all of these. Maybe that's what was happening. Apparently it was. That's so weird. So now we're gonna have a lot of water coming into our city. So let's wait and see if this floods or not. So thankfully it didn't flood this area. I was a little bit concerned about it. So that's great news. So the first thing we're gonna do is keep upgrading these walls, and again, I really wish we could have done these nice ones, but they do not allow you to plop anything. As opposed to these ones, as you can see, they work really well. And I think we're gonna try to just do these ones, the tiered seawall both, and I think that's gonna work really well. So I'm gonna pause this, and as you can see, this district grew really nice. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to destroy this and this. roads so that we can upgrade these two walls, and then we can add the road back again. Hopefully it's not gonna give us any issues. I think we're gonna be perfectly fine. So let's continue with this one. There's options because there's supposed to be a walkway at the bottom, the pedestrian path at the bottom. Let me rezone this. We should be fine now, and I'm gonna zone this just because. And so I think it would be a good idea to do something like this every so often, every two segments. I think that's gonna be looking really nice. And again, we can always change that. I don't like it because whenever you want the water to be high, it's not high. Whenever you don't want it to be high, it is high. So it's always a big issue. But for now, let's just plop down these different tourism buildings, and this one is fishing tours, which we're gonna put here. We're gonna put the ski jet rental, and I think finally we're gonna do the restaurant pier. This might be a little bit too big, that's why I didn't wanna build this one here, because it was gonna be a bit too much. But I think for now that's gonna work. And there's something here that I'm gonna build that I think is gonna go really well with the fact that it's next to an agricultural site, to some farms, and it's gonna be this huge riding stable. It's gonna add a lot of good value into these properties, and I think that's gonna work really well. And for this side, I think I'm gonna add this and this here. I'm also gonna take down these roads. I'm only gonna leave this one for now, but I think it's gonna be a great little district for people to visit. And we just need to make sure that there's bus stops for this area to get here, and maybe we'll add a little bus route. So maybe we can do it here, go here, and unfortunately we don't have this little bus depot, but we have enough money so we can actually build it. And I think I'm just gonna build it here. And why? That way we can change. I'm gonna change this first to a yellowish, and that way we can do this. We can put them as the small or the mini buses, and we should be fine, at least for now, with this little district. Something that I also want to do is start zoning this area. That way we lower the demand just a little bit. And one of the things that I like to do in the little cul-de-sacs that we created is to put, like I mentioned, little parks, and I think that works really well, really nice. So first of all, I'm gonna delete these power lines, because the power should be no issue to get into this subdivision. So let's zone this really quick. It should be fine. There you go. It's gonna fill up really nice. I still don't know how we're gonna deal with this. I think that maybe adding another road here might help, and maybe just doing another smaller road here. Let's see if we can do that. Again, I don't want to have to deal with being too close into the railroad tracks, so I think this should be fine. And I think this also looks rather nice. Another thing that I like to do by the railroad tracks is to put a fence, and I like to use this farm fence. We put the fence maybe I think here should be fine. And just to have sort of a limit as to what we can do and what we can use. And we'll do the same on the other side, but right now the most important one is here. And as you can see, it also adds a little bit of more detail, and I think that's rather nice. Our landfills are emptying, so they should be empty pretty soon. Let's just double check with our electricity and garbage. We should be fine. And maybe we can build another oil power plant, and that one I think we can build it here. And one of the things that we haven't built is I don't think we have built one. No, let's build a warehouse. With just regular goods. We are making really good money here, and maybe in the near future we can do maybe in here we can do forestry, but definitely we're gonna try to use some of the other resources, non-renewable resources. Maybe we can start with something here on once we open the new tile, or even better, we can start mining this zone. I think that's gonna be our next industrial area, to mine this zone for ore. And there's a lot of units available, so we should be fine. Again, one of the reasons why I don't like to put ore and oil industries in my cities is because they're finite, and the way that they work is that the resources deplete very fast, and so you have to start moving and deleting and changing buildings and whatnot, and I don't like that. So I just do it just to, maybe if you wanna plop down some of the factories that require certain products, certain raw materials, then yes, but otherwise I really don't like it. I think it's more of a hassle, especially the oil one and the ore. As for the agriculture and the forestry, I think they're great. I think they give you a good amount of money, and once you get to either level 3, 4, even 5, even 3, 4, 5, you can really stop worrying about them, because everything's under control. In here, as you can see, we have a little bit of surplus, which is why even though we still import, so we're fine. That's at the point where I know that we can expand a little bit more, but it's not needed for it. Demand for residential has gone down. We still have demand for commercial zoning, and maybe we can add a little bit more of the tourist here. And I think that should be it for now. Let's see how we are doing, and I think there's a light here. Let's delete the light, and let's go into the budget, and let's see how we are doing in terms of commercial zones. Leisure is giving us a really good amount of money. Tourism also, organic and local also. It's good to specialize these different zones, and I think it works really well. We might want another organic produce zone, but maybe we can do it in this area. I don't know yet, we'll see. This one is looking really nice. I think that the fact that we added it here, it's great. And I'm just gonna add some more just regular high density. Another thing that I like to do near bus stations and train stations, especially these ones, I do like to plop down a parking lot. And even though it's, a little bit big, I think it does add to the fact that it's a big and busy area. So I think that not only does it look really, really nice, I think it adds to the fact that we put it next to an important public transportation station. In this case, this elevated, really nice, beautiful elevated platform station. And so what I wanted to do in this episode was to create a park. And because we have this available, and I don't think I'm gonna use this for anything else, I think we're gonna build our first park here, or we can also build it in here. So right now I really don't know what to do, but I think what I'm gonna do is build a really small one here. It's a little bit of a cheat, put it in there, but the first thing we need to do is to de-zone this. That way there's no issue with putting anything here. And we're gonna build a small park. One of my criticisms with city skylines and the way they did parks is that not every park has a gate. Not every park, at least in the United States or at least in Texas, not every park has a gate or something that makes it or defines it as a park. And I think that's one of my biggest issues when it comes into these parks. I like them. I love the way that they came about, and I love the fact that we are able to create our own parks. But I think just by placing down an area, a park district, should be enough to make it a park. Once you start adding the pathways, trees, or anything else, I think that's when things should make it a little bit better. So again, that's one of my criticisms. I think that it's a valid one. I think that really these type of parks needed to be a little bit less difficult to deal with, and not so much difficult, but with so many requirements for them to work as parks. And unfortunately, we're not gonna have that in City Skylines 2. I don't think we're gonna be able to have parks like this, so that's something negative that I'm waiting to see how that's gonna affect with the gameplay with that many of us have, at least here. So if we wanted to add a park, we are able to add an amusement park, a zoo, or a nature reserve. I think for the nature reserve, I'm gonna wait to open this tile. I think to open the nature reserve here and later on in here, because I do want to make this like a little lake, a little bit more touristy, and maybe put a little dam in here. I think that's gonna work really nice, and thankfully the water is flowing nicely. We might add this wall to the other side, and I think what we're gonna do is what we discussed a little bit earlier, to put these basically stairs to go up and down, and I think we can do that here and here, and I think that's gonna look nice, give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more of a little bit different. And there's a lot of people walking here, so what I'm gonna do, at least for now, I'm gonna add a path to put it from here to here, again, at least for now, so that they can take advantage of that. And maybe what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna say why not, is to create another park here. And that's something that I usually don't do right away, but I think it's gonna be a perfect place to put it. And I think I'm trying to figure out if we should put an amusement park here or here. And you know what, let's put it on this side. Let's move all this, and it's gonna something's gonna happen once we move these pastures, and I'm gonna show you really quick, and it's gonna look really really cool, is to see how all the animals have to basically roam to where the pasture is at now. And I think that's one of the coolest things that the devs did for this expansion pack. I am gonna make this a little bit bigger, that way we don't have any type of issues. I'm gonna move this one too, and this one here too, and we should be fine once we move this, and we can create a street here so that we can add just 2 more of the barracks. Okay, and now we are able to create our other park, and I wanted to have it near the tourism area, so we still have a lot of things to do. And again, I don't like to put or to place down amusement parks right away or too early into the game, but I think this is gonna be really good. And let me just make sure that we don't mess up these. Again, it's very finicky once you start dealing with these zones and how things need to be laid down and whatnot. So I think everything's fine here. And I think I'm gonna put the main entrance to our amusement park. So we're gonna do the amusement park, and I'm gonna put the big gate here, and I'm gonna do a small gate here. Okay, let's polish it. Let's put animal ethics, advertising. We're gonna make this a main park. We're gonna put celebrate, night tours, and recycle, and the info we're gonna change the price to 8. And something else, well, let's start making our park. Let's make sure there's enough water. There's not enough water, so we're just gonna extend this pipe here. And it's always interesting to see how people do their parks. I mean, it all depends how you wanna make them. Some people like to do the Disney style park, others don't care. For me, it's a little bit of both. I think that things should look nice, but at the same time they should also make sense. So we're gonna do a souvenir shop here, another one here. We're gonna put restrooms here, and we're gonna put a carousel here. And I think we're waiting for the park cafe, that one, and that one we're gonna place here. And to finish with this part, we're gonna put down the fence, and I think it's gonna be very well required for this park. Usually I don't care too much about fencing it correctly, but I think the fact that we have we actually have this enclosed, I think it's gonna make the difference. And still, I think it's gonna look great, and it's gonna start looking great. And for right now, I think this is gonna make sense. And right now the entertainment value is 384 out of 250, so we're just gonna wait for people to get here. Let's make sure that there's a stop, and there's a stop before. I think this is gonna be too close, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this here, and again, we should be fine. We can wait to see if people are gonna start going into the amusement park. And let's change it to River Experience. If there's another name that maybe you want to change it to, just put it in the comments and I'll do it. And again, this is something that's gonna show how things are gonna evolve. As soon as we continue filling the outside of the city with suburbs, with just regular low density residential, then we can start upgrading um, this area and maybe these two with high density, not only residential but commercial, and we can start doing the IT commercial zones. Office zones. I think that's gonna be great, and we're gonna have again an American style city that has a downtown that doesn't exist anymore, in terms of being just like having full of mom and pop stores, which we don't really have that many anymore here, as we can see here. And it wasn't that way because again, I don't like the way these cities are started, but that's the way that it is, and that's the way that it works for now. So I think we are fine for today's episode. We not only created one small regular park, but we created an amusement park very early on, again, at least in my opinion, for this little city that's growing amazingly, New Austin. I'm glad that this is episode 7 and that we are growing our city without rushing, without taking too many weird chances or whatnot. And that's the way the city is gonna keep on growing. So for next episode, we definitely need to finish this other part of the subdivision of whatever phase this might be, phase 2. That way we can give some supply for the demand for residential. We're having issues with dead people. I think another cemetery. Again, we don't have access to the crematorium. And sometimes I do like to put these type of things like in here at the entrance. So I'm gonna place this here, and I think that should be fine for now. I'm glad that we were able to upgrade this nice river and the river walk, which is what it is basically. We added a park, we added a commercial tourism specialization zone, and it's gonna be able to grow a little bit more. So I think we accomplished what our goal was in the beginning. And so we are finishing episode 6. I do want to thank you for watching this video, liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. Until next episode. Thanks.